February 3rd, 2026 is going to go down as one of my worst days in my life. And it actually has nothing to do with any of the market volatility going on. It has to do with this little notebook and what that represents. Back in October, the wife and I discovered that we were expecting. And I was incredibly happy. I was so incredibly happy because I've known for the longest time I've wanted to be a father. One of the things I would do when I was in the military is whenever we got a little TDY somewhere, I would pick up a little stuffed animal from that location so that someday I could give it to my future son or my future daughter. And then also just recall that experience of the trip I went on. So I've wanted to be a father for the longest time. And similarly with my wife, she knew she wanted to be a mom. And we found out that she was pregnant in October. And that was incredible. Now, Sunday going into Monday at around 1 a.m., the wife and I were just talking, we were just having a normal chat. She got up, she went to go use the restroom, and then she told me that her water had broken. We got ready as quick as we could and just left the house in a disarray and went straight to the hospital because October to February is only 20 weeks old. And that's where we started, like both of us were doing our searches. It's like, okay, if the water breaks at 20 weeks, what are the odds for our baby? And I will say, all the medical staff that dealt with us were trying to be as optimistic as possible. But we knew early on. We're like, this is a terrible sign. Because at 20 weeks, her lungs haven't developed. The premature cases that are like 22, 24 weeks, they can still have some extreme conditions that are bad for them. And I was trying to cope with it as best as I could. I'm not the most religious man. My wife, she's very Catholic. And I was pleading with God. I was like, I promise you, I will take her to church every Sunday myself. Just please protect my little daughter. In this little notebook, we would be writing to her either like once a week, every couple days. It'd be things like, my dear little blueberry, wonderful news. You're a little girl, and your name is Carina. in the pleading, I was thinking of all the experiences I wanted to share with her. Honestly, with how I knew the volatility coming into this week from last week. So I was like, wife, I'm just gonna withdraw some money and we're just gonna start setting up everything for Carina for when she arrives. So this week we are supposed to be purchasing her crib and her walker and all her little toys. And my last entry to her, I was talking about how we got to see her recently on the ultrasound. We got to see her kicking. I'm like, I'm so proud of your strong little legs. I can't wait to be holding you in a few months. Your mom will get a break from all your kicking. But we found you an adorable little Care Bear outfit that you're gonna look so cute in. And I ended it off with, I'll make you Brunswick stew in a few days. Hopefully, Mom and you both enjoy this comfort food of mine. As as we're sitting in the hospital, we both knew that the outlook was terrible. Like I said, the nurses were extremely nice. They're like, hey, there's still hope. But I had already started. I was praying. I was remorseful that I'm like, I'm sorry, Carina. You're never gonna get to experience that Brunswick stew. Because unfortunately, they use a specific type of beans that we had to order, so they're gonna get here in a few days. And oh man, I went through my wallet because on my deployments, or I guess early on when I joined the military for my deployments, I was given just from a family friend, gave me a little medallion of our Mother Mary. And I've kept her in my wallet for, I don't know, 15 years at this point because she's protected me. Despite me not being the most devout religious person, she kept me safe on every deployment. And I'm so grateful for that. And yesterday I gave it to my wife. I was like, you and Carina need her more right now. And I made a prayer with her. Please keep my wife and my child strong throughout this whole experience. And I will say, she did. She absolutely did. Fortunately, there were no complications for my wife. She just went to labor and she gave birth to our little girl. She was born at 11:38, February 23rd, 2026. And she weighed 375 grams. And I'm so grateful that she was born alive. My. Yeah. I know it would have devastated my wife. Because she's like, I don't want my womb to be a tomb for this little girl. When we knew the water broke, we knew that she was already going to be fighting for her life. But our baby was strong. Very strong heartbeat. And she was born alive. Unfortunately, she only survived for 22 minutes. Because the other paper I have in front of me is the declaration of her passing. So our little girl, it's an angel baby. And I'm gonna say this is clearly the worst trait of my life. Because I would trade anything for her. I would give up my entire portfolio for this little girl. If that were an option, I would take it today. Oh. It's not fair. I'm grateful that she was born alive. She didn't have to, she didn't know fear. She didn't know pain. She was born alive and then moved back to the stars, like her name says. And I just, exactly, the question is just why? Why did this happen? Why us? We were so happy. We were just enjoying life. And it feels like one of the most just awful, awful experiences ever. So in the first trimester, it would have hurt for sure. But man, and the third trimester, if it happens early that the water breaks, at least the baby's got a chance. But at 20 weeks, I just feel like we were at that crucial little pinch point that there's not really anything we could have done. It was just, that's a death sentence. And it sucks because, like I said, this week we were supposed to be ordering everything. And maybe that's why. Maybe something was going to happen even worse. And God didn't want us receiving these items every day. And then for her to pass in that manner. Definitely a new life goal of mine. That it has to be. And it has to be. So that I set up some sort of foundation. Just in her honor. Or just other parents that are expecting and instead they receive an angel baby. Just some sort of little care package or something we can provide to them. Because this really is the worst deal that you could ever get dealt. Yeah. I'm gonna go put away her things now. Before the wife gets home.